lot of the latest in the Bob Lee murder trial, where the sister of defendant Nima Momeni was back on the witness stand today. Khazar Momeni has been a key figure in this case, and today she testified about an alleged sexual assault. Our Lauren Toms was in the courtroom and has more on how all of this plays into the case. Lauren.
Yeah, hey, Juliet. Today we got a better idea into what prosecutors may believe to be a motive in this stabbing, as prosecutors zeroed in on Khazar's recollection of an alleged sexual assault that may have aggravated her brother, Nima Momeni. All of this playing out as family members of both Bob Lee's and Nima Momeni's watching and listening from just the second row of the courtroom. The family of Bob Lee was visibly unsettled during testimony from Khazar Momeni, the sister of the man accused of fatally stabbing their loved one. She described Bob being, quote, very erratic in the hour before his death. Bob Lee's family grumbled in the courtroom while Lee's brother briefly left the room. He says her words cannot be trusted.
It was difficult because, Bob isn't here to speak for himself, and you aren't here to experience what Bob was like. She's characterizing this in a way that really helps Nima, right? And it's not, may not be based in the reality of the moment.
This was Khazar Momeni's second day of testimony. She recalled seeing Lee at her own apartment in the Millennium Tower less than an hour before he was stabbed. Prosecutors presented texts that she sent her brother that suggest Nima was using drugs.
It's important because she needs to lay a foundation for those texts. The prosecution wants the texts introduced into evidence that show that her brother was exhibiting behavior that could be interpreted as aggressive. You're acting lunatic. You act crazy when you're on blow.
Khazar also testified about a man she describes as a drug dealer named Jeremy Boyven. She claimed after taking GHB and LSD, she woke up face down on his bed and alleged she was sexually assaulted. In a statement, Boyven's attorney refuted Khazar's testimony, calling it false and riddled with blatant lies, and maintained her relationship with Boyven was voluntary and consensual. The attorney went on to say that Khazar's testimony proves that she is not a credible witness. But it's this encounter between Boyven and Khazar that could shed light into a potential motive for the fatal stabbing.
Bob Lee was apparently the one who introduced this alleged drug dealer to her 2 days before this incident. So that could be a reason why Nima Momeni is extremely upset.
Prosecutors have said this encounter sparked a rage in Nima, who went on to question Bob Lee about the events. According to prosecutors, Lee and his friend were not present during the alleged sexual assault, and Khazar testified that later that night, Khazar invited Bob and Nima over to continue their night, where Khazar says the two men acted like buddies.
She also humanizes him. She says now twice in her testimony, he's a nice person. He was just acting like a regular protective brother. Then it goes again to the motive of Nima Momeni to take out this anger or direct this anger toward Bob Lee, the person who introduced his sister to the person who allegedly assaulted her. So it provides a direct line, and it goes to motive.
Now, we also learned from prosecutors that several members of the Momeni family, including Khazar and Nima, were instructed by a previous defense attorney to get rid of their phones and get new iPhones just days before Nima's arrest. And Khazar's husband allegedly Googled how to erase an iPhone just before Nima was taken into custody. Juliet.
Lauren, thank you. And Lauren, will be back in court tomorrow for Khazar Momeni's cross-examination. You can also find the latest updates on our website at kpix.com.